lovely people. I'm Sinead, and welcome. Today we're gonna get on to that chair. And we've had a few snags along the way in getting this recorded, but and I'm gonna share with you some of that. But I also kind of wanted to go over the upper floor that I cleaned off and take you up there and see my plan, because I don't actually have anything done yet. I did get it cleaned off, but I didn't make any progress on getting anything done up there. So I'm going to take the camera and kind of show you the plan. Okay, the plan up here is to put a wall, let's see if I can indicate that, right here, but that it ends approximately here, so that you have this tiny little bit of outside, and then behind it would be a room, and the rest of the floor would be inside. But I wanted this tiny little section of a front door and outside. So I've got this bit of fencing and an outdoor window which would go in the wall, and of course the door that would go in the wall. So that's my plan for this next floor, and I just need to have the time to get the ceiling painted and get started. So let's go over and see what has been taking up my time. These are the little figurines that kind of are holding up the works on getting the video on the chair done. And I still have mugs with similar little characters that I need to put on them. But I just wanted to share that. As you can see here, the table desk is finished, and I'm really pleased with how the shellac and the milk paint came together and finished this off. So now let's get started on the chair. And there's going to be a certain amount of wait time, so I won't be able to finish it, I don't think, in this video. But this is the back of the chair, and I want to get these paper clay details painted the same color as the desk table, and then glue them on here. So those have to be painted first. And so we're going to start by gluing. Here's the bottom of the seat. We're going to glue on the legs, and I did go with little short legs. It really worked out to have the doll body to work with, to give me an idea of, you know, where I wanted it to sit. And yeah, just put that all together. Just these little short legs. It doesn't need any bracing, although you could put a frame around there to brace it up, help keep it stable. There really isn't a wrong side here to the bottom of these pieces. I'm just trying to make sure they're good and stuck, if that's a good way to describe it. Because they're square, I am kind of trying for equal, you know, distance from the corner, and because if it was a round leg, it wouldn't show as much if you didn't quite have it the same. But I don't know, the square in a square corner kind of tends to show if you get it off a little. You would never see it. I probably would, though. So I guess it's whatever suits you. I mean, you can just slap them on there, and as long as it holds the chair up, you're good. I'm also trying to not get glue any place I don't want it. The shellac the milk paint didn't cover over the glue, surprisingly. Kind of had some resistance there, and I had to work harder at getting it, and it still kind of showed. So we've got the legs on. I want to turn that around and set it down, and then putting some weight on it would be a good plan. But the blocks that I would normally use are holding up the camera, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Hopefully the angle of the camera didn't change that much. So all I did was slide something else underneath there. The blocks just do such a lovely job. So all I am going to do here is try and get this back on here, make sure I've got my line there. I drew a line for where the cushion can't go above, but I think it will be less important because the paper clay, I think I'm going to get it done before I, wow, words, they're not working. I think I'm going to have the paper clay in it glued in place before I need to worry about the cushion. Okay, so we got it sandwiched between the two blocks, and make sure we're centered, and there we go. That has to set up. Then I've got these arms to go on here. I just did two pieces, the armrest and a little round dowel for the support. I feel like I touched that. Paranoid here. And I cut a little notch in so that we would have a better attachment point. And I'm not quite sure why I did that first. So we're just gonna try, okay. I should have a paper towel over here. I think I'm gonna end up with glue where I don't want it. Just stick these there together. Okay, stick this on there. Whoops. Try and stick this on there. I did try and sand these flat, but I don't know how successful I was. I'm gonna use that. Well, that's not working out great. I need to get a paper towel. Okay, I've set it aside because I think I need it to be laying on its back to really have any success with that. So what I have here are two pieces of thicker chipboard, and they ended up being cut about the same size for the seat and the back. So they would go onto the chair, and pieces of foam to be the cushion, and some pieces of velvet to go on that. So the idea being here, pay attention to your direction of your velvet. This, I kind of want it going, I think, both pieces going towards the bottom, the flat side, so they'll meet. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I'm like, would you have the velvet go down the back and then out the seat? I don't know. I guess it doesn't actually matter, but just taking the velvet around and gluing it in place on the back, it does not need this much to pull in here, and I will need to trim away some stuff. I'm just trying to decide whether I want to come in from the sides first. If you come in from the sides, you might get a nice little fold at the corner there. If you end up with too much bulk back here, this is going to interfere with gluing it to the chair, so you'll want to cut away that bulk. And of course, I don't have my scissors. So I'm just going to get the glue on here and then go get the scissors. After Arthur came back and told me that there would be an order for the Maritime Center. He came back the next day and said that there would be a very similar order for the Marine Science Center. And it was interesting because the fancy octopus mugs I've done, both of them want, and we had already made the two for the first order, and I was just gonna, leisurely make a couple more to replace the stock, so that so that we had them there on at market and whatnot. And as an example, if you're trying to get a wholesale deal, and which is what the Marine Science Center and the Maritime Center are anyway. So he comes back and he says, oh yeah, and they want 4 of those. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that means I now need to get 4 made instead of just 2 leisurely, and then the 2 leisurely on top of that. So I've got some octopus mugs to get done. And apparently they like the way that I did 4 drawn legs and then 4 that were 3-dimensional, and seems to be popular. So I like that it's been a hit with everybody who's picked it up and looked at it. They've all been like, that is really cool. So I'm glad that I decided to take that on and do that. I need to go get the scissors. Okay, I trimmed away some of the excess, not a whole lot. Then the idea being that you fold in, you want to get the corner needs to be covered, but not too bulky. Anyway, the whole octopus mug has been an interesting space, because when it was Laughing Gnome, there was I'm having a hard time with this because I'm not sure about gluing to the fabric, I guess. But remember, this will get covered. No one will see this, hopefully. Darby had ideas about how he wanted his octopus mugs made. It makes sense that he would want them a certain way. It was his company. But then when it became ours, and Joey's octopus mugs had never met the standard that he wanted. He had somebody else doing them. I think they're cute. What Joey does is absolutely adorable. Okay, we've got this bulk right here that I think we're going to need to get some more glue in there. And so, and Joey was reticent to take it on because of that. And, meeting the expectations of the clientele that wanted a certain type of mug. And I don't know, we get caught up in that a lot because there's an established design for our wares. And I just went, but I don't like his octopus. Let me do what I would do, and you decide whether or not you like it. And he actually likes what I did. So, not that his opinion at this point is paramount or anything, but, he came through and saw what I'd done and was like, oh no, I like those. So I have hit a point with that is pleasing to all concerned. The customer, the former owner of the business, and all. So I feel like that's a total win. I feel like you should put glue like here first, but it just goes against everything to do that. When doing full-size upholstery, there's a lot of stapling. There's a lot of pulling and stapling. And yeah, I guess that's what my mind is going to, is that pulling and stapling instead of realizing you got to get glue in there. Trying to get it turned after the fact. Oops. We also have a curve we're trying to establish up here, which complicates everything. Because you got to pull that extra fabric in. And I am seeing why people use hot glue, which is melted plastic, so it is straight out for me, not an option. And I don't recommend it because it's plastic. Melted plastic is not a good thing to be breathing. I think. Yeah, velvet. There we go. We got all the all the little ends of velvet. We're not consistent from side to side. That could be better. Let's see. Do I have something I can stick in there? Not that isn't sharp. Yeah, that's not going to work. So I would want this. This is what I wanted it to look like. I don't even know if you can see that, but that is what I wanted it to look like. That's a little off. And that's the side that I didn't tuck before turning it. Okay. We'll try and get the next one better. And this one can be the seat. But it's definitely going to need a lint brush situation. Working with velvet, it picks up everything. And shows everything. Okay, I'm not going to be distracted by that. Setting it down. Okay, which way does this velvet go? Nope, that way. No. Oh, am I holding it the wrong way? I am having a hard time seeing which way this goes. This velvet is not what do you call it, an easy one to tell. It's not obvious. Obviously going to do the same thing again and then just try and get that tucked better. You could start by trimming off. Anyway, I'll be back with a finished cushion. I want to try something different since we're thinking about this. We're going to put the glue up here away from the fold and glue down these edges. I did not talk to you about where the wood came from. So this obviously can be built with cardboard or basswood or whatever you have. And I had scraps of 2x6, and my son Arthur ripped those down, which could be done on a table saw or a bandsaw. And if you know somebody who's got, the right tools for the job, you can use 2x4s and 2x6s to make your miniature furniture by ripping it into 1/4-inch thick pieces. And these are not even consistent. It still works. He was using a wide blade on the bandsaw, and so one side of the board is a little thicker than the other side, but it still works. We still get a decent cut board to turn into a cute little chair. Okay, I think that made it a little easier, gluing those beforehand. Trying to make sure I don't have glue on my thumbs before I touch it, because yeah, you don't want glue on the finished side and it doesn't clean off. You do want to hit, if you have a curved area, you want to make sure that you get the curved part glued down first. Put too much glue there. Before you glue down the outside curves so that it's even, like that. You still have a little bit sticking out there. And again, at least they were consistent this time, but these corners are just not cooperating with me. I don't know. But be sure you hit the center of the curve first and then come out here. We'll be able to go back and maybe get the arms on the chair after this. I am using the fast grab, which is making this a lot easier than it would be if I were using, say, you know, Elmer's or some other PVA glue. That would be sliding all over the place. Try and get your raw edges in. Now, one of the things that you can do, I don't know, I probably won't do it, is to kind of take off anything that's bumped here, or you can set something in the center to make everything the same level, but I probably won't do any of that. They're just ways of getting it to glue down flatter to the chair. Okay. There's another one done. Let's set. Well, I think our glue has hit the tacky part, you know, pretty sturdy there. My weight was stuck. All right, let's see if we can get these arms on here this time. Maybe I should have done a little pre-gluing. I don't know. You know, I remember there being something about them that I wanted to look for. Yeah, there's a little notch out, and I want that on the bottom side. Okay. Forgot to look for that last time. So I guess it's just as well it didn't work. Here I go again, putting the glue on here and not doing it in the right order again. We're gonna stick that on there. Hopefully we can get this to stay. Oh, the glue is picking it up. Okay. Felt it picking up it off the other piece, which is not what you want. All right. No! See, this is part of that pre-gluing thing that I probably should have done. This is why. If this were stuck, then I could turn it like this. Now, if you want this straight up, you know, square to the back, this is where we're going to use the block to help us know what square is. This is probably where the biggest amount of glue mess is going to happen. is trying to get this on here. You could also use a clamp here. Yeah, these arms are probably the most difficult part of the entire build, because I mean, after all, the first part, that was easy. Putting this on here, actually sourcing my pieces of wood was more difficult than the assembly of the two pieces together, because that was really easy. I think it's so funny how short they are. Okay. Yep, I think it's square enough. I'm looking at it from both sides. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. You might want to be consistent from one side to the other as to the placement of this support. So I'm going to take it over here and wish that I had something to mark with. Oh boy. And I think that there is glue here. And I think that is going to cause us grief later. So we're going to try a little harder to remove that. Ooh, we're going to have to take sandpaper to that. Okay. It happened to be in the right place though. So using that. What an awkward way to go about this. But we're going to actually give that a second. I think that's secure enough to move forward, maybe. I was also thinking about, so this 2x6, I guess it's Douglas fir, is a little heavier than basswood. And that joint here, the butt joint at the back, might be a problem. Weight-wise, it might not want to stay upright. See, the arms of the chair will help with that, but you know, it's a tiny little attachment point way down low. You know, it's not that secure of an attachment point. Okay. So it occurred to me that one of the things you can do to make that joint, this joint back here, a little more sturdy, is to take a craft stick, you know, your tongue depressor style, and cut it to the width of the back of the back of the chair, and then glue it down there across that joint. I don't know if I'm getting this right. And this is one of those things that I told you, this tool does not cut these craft sticks all that well, so I just lift out on the craft stick and kind of break it. Use that as a break line. Anyway, so we've got it the right width now, and once the arms are kind of set up, we can pick this up. We can see that our arms are actually canted in, which, this is a wide enough chair. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for the doll sitting in it. And I think it's okay. I didn't expect it, but there we are. So then we're going to put glue across here, and then place that across this join right here. Hopefully I'm not running into anything as I set this down. I just kind of flopped it over. This might not be a bad idea to just do from the beginning. Just a way to reinforce that join. More surface area glued. So, what I plan on doing next week on this chair is having it shellacked, and this part will be painted. And I guess actually there's not really gluing the cushions in place. So yeah, I guess I can get it shellacked and get these parts painted, and then we can do a video on the assembly. So I hope you have a delightful day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.